Hi, my name is Michelle Nicolo Prentice, and welcome to the Mama's Lullaby podcast. I want to introduce you to my bonus son, Kevin Jennings. He is going to be the host of Mama's Lullaby, and we are going to be talking with all the people from behind the scenes of Mama's Lullaby, records, CDs, and recordings. I'm very excited to have him here to help me today, and every time we do this. So
yeah,
hi, BJ.
Well, hello.
Well, I call him BJ, but his name is Kevin.
Yeah, well, that's fine, and you can call me BJ. And so, Mom, thank you for letting me help you and be a part of this project. Yeah, it's my pleasure. And again, my goal here is to help my mom and really every single one of you who are listening and watching this join us as we celebrate and explore motherhood. Now, you might say it's pretty weird for a guy to be helping do that, but that's just because I love my mom so much, and I want to help my mom help you and support you as well. So what we're going to be doing on every single episode is exploring and celebrating motherhood, and that can be for current mothers, aspiring mothers, or even those who just love mothering. And our goal here is to make sure that you feel supported and encouraged, and honestly just feel like connected to other people who cherish this journey the way you do. And this amazing woman and this amazing man and other people you'll soon get to meet have done amazing work over the last, 5 or 6 years, putting together an amazing collection of music just for you. And we'll be talking about the journey of motherhood through the lens of song that you actually get to enjoy on your favorite streaming platforms or even purchase it. But we'll get to that later. So we are here today with the amazing Marcus Hummon. Now, he is Grammy Award winner, 2019 inductee into the Nashville Songwriter Hall of Fame, multi-instrumentalist, recording artist, composer, playwright, author, and the husband of the gifted Becca Stephen, and the father of 3 amazing artistic sons. So if there's anyone who can also help us explore this journey, it is Marcus. So thank you for being here, Marcus.
Thanks. Glad to be here. Proud to be here. I'm not a mother, but I guess we're going to broaden our concept of what that is.
But you've lived with a mother for many years now,
in fact,
and you had a mother.
I did, in fact, have a mother.
That's right.
And your wife's a mother, so you know.
Yeah.
You know, and I think more than anything, I think what I want to start with, actually, for the two of you, is maybe you, Michelle, first taking us back to how we got to the idea of creating a collection of lullabies for moms. Okay. And then you can just take us into how you enlisted this amazing man to be the first person to kind of take you on that journey of creating the first song.
Okay, yeah, beautiful. So what happened was my husband ended up in the hospital one weekend, and I was staying the night with him, and I was trying to sleep in that chair that they have in the room there, which is not a comfortable chair. But I remembered that week prior, we had recorded a lullaby for a client of Mark's, my husband, and I sang the demo. And I remember thinking, maybe if I put that lullaby in, because I remember when I sang it, it really moved me, and it really relaxed me strangely, and it brought me kind of back to that feeling when I was a new mom, and it was just very profound. So I put it in and I started to listen to it. And I think I listened to it maybe a couple times, and then I fell asleep. And when I woke up the next day, that was a Saturday. So Sunday morning I woke up and I went, moms need lullabies. Moms need songs that relax, soothe, and calm them. Not necessarily Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, you know. And so when we got home from the hospital that week, I said to Mark, I need to write lullabies for moms. They need the soothing, they need the calming too. Somebody needs to, nurture them. And he said to me, could you just give me a minute? Because you just got out of the hospital. So anyway, 2 years went by, and it was always in the back of my mind, I knew I wanted to do it, but I just kind of went on with my life. And one day I'm driving in the car, literally this happened, and I hear inside my head, I'm certain it's God, it's time to start writing the lullabies. Call Marcus Hummon. Okay, first of all, we've known Marcus a long, long time. He never answers his phone, ever. So I'll call him. So I called him and he answered. And I told him I wanted to write lullabies for moms. I said, would you write with me? And he said, yeah, I'd love to. And also he's a very busy writer, but he had time that next week, so we got together really fast.
Wow.
And we wrote this song.
Yeah.
Well, now we heard one side of that story.
Yeah.
So you're on the receiving end of a phone call, which you may or may not remember exactly how it felt, but
Yeah.
just kind of bring us into your side of, you get this phone call. Is that a fairly unique request to say, I want to write a lullaby for moms? Like,
Yeah, it's very unique. I mean, it's not unique to have a fellow artist say they want to do something together, to have a collaboration of some kind. But and then, if you work in the publishing community, your publisher tends to set up all your rights. So a lot of times, people don't actually call you. I mean, it's just things get set up or whatever. And so this is different. So part of it is, so Michelle and I are friends, but also we're sort of colleagues in that we've done work together in the arts. We've done work both in the studio, but also in theater, which is sort of a special thing. And then I've worked with her husband for many years on numerous projects, and now I've also done stuff with their kids, who are tremendous musicians themselves. At any rate, what I remember was just that it's a beautiful idea. At the time, my recollection is that still sort of unformed. It was sort of in becoming, not unformed. That's not the right word. It was more in the process of becoming. So, I thought, the idea of a lullaby to me has its own connotation. That's a very powerful thing, and worthy of discussion and exploration. Like, what is a lullaby? What is it that we choose to sing to our children to put them to sleep, or to bring them to peaceful place? If you want, sometimes it's like, get them in bed so we, watch a freaking movie.
Right.
Like, go to bed. There's that, and then there's the other thing of like, the sort of adoration, and that somehow singing is like connective tissue in that, and you become the child itself. So.
I love that.
Anyway, so all that sounds interesting to me. So, and then I thought, yeah, let's just see what happens. We hadn't written, but I know that, I know that Michelle's a very soulful person and is very artistic, and so I was sure that we'd get something. It just happens that what we got was actually really beautiful. Yeah. I think it's really quite beautiful.
It is.
But I didn't, and a lot of times too, when you work, it's better to not have too much expectation. You don't want to put that on a person.
Yeah.
That's not what writing is. Co-writing is a kind of, it's sort of like a dance. It's sort of a thing. And you just, you have to respect all the possibilities, which include that nothing will happen.
Yeah.
That has to be okay too.
Yeah.
If you go into writing situations and you're like, man, if we don't write, the long and winding, if we don't write yesterday, then we've really failed.
Right.
You're going to fail.
Yeah.
Because by and large, you're not going to write Wichita Lineman, or you're going to something, and then you can be surprised, and maybe you won't fail. Maybe it'll be just like this was for me, because it wasn't too long ago. We did a little presentation and we sang, and I write a lot of music. I'm sort of, it's all I do. I mean, in a way, and so I'm in. There's new music. And then I remember going back to it and going, wow, this is groovy.
Yeah.
Really
well, that's a really great transition, because I think this song is being released to you close to Valentine's Day. And so we have this song that is in many ways a love song to this phase of your child's life. And so I'd love, if you wouldn't mind, kind of read a few of the lyrics. And what I want to do is just take a second just to kind of get both, I would say, a bit of a story around how you two experienced this phase with your own children, and kind of what memories come to mind for you individually as you hear the lyrics. So why don't you read some of the lyrics, Mom, and then we'll go back to it.
Okay. Watching, breathing, sleeping, dreaming. Beautiful, my beautiful child. I think when we started this, you were playing the guitar, and you said, what do you kind of want to write about? And I said, when you're looking at your baby and you watch them, literally watch them breathe, or watch them sleep, or they're dreaming, you can see their, and so it just came off like words, like one word at a time, and it just literally, we had the whole song that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny when your first child, the watching and the breathing, those two first lines, that fills me with anxiety when I think about that. Because your first child, it's like, first of all, you can't believe there's this child and it's this living creature and it just looks like anime or whatever, and then it's breathing, and then you're thinking about breathing, and you never think about breathing. I never think about breathing. I mean, I guess for people that really have a great yoga or meditative, they think about breathing a lot. Unfortunately, I don't really think about breathing a lot, and so I remember the trepidation, and then later, it's funny how by the third child, it's like, I need that breathing to become sleep. I need you to go to bed. Anyway, but that's how I kind of remember it. And occasionally there are songs which are written quickly. It's a lot of times songwriters talk about this, and there's a famous saying, I don't an idea that Hank Williams Sr. said, that the great songs are born like calves are born, that they just drop and you can clean them off over time, but within moments they're walking.
Wow.
And that's a fairly graphic image, but in a way, if you've ever seen a calf born, you can't believe it. You can't believe that it's up and walking, right? And then he kind of said that it's sort of like, the idea is that if you work a lot at writing, and it's like a muscle, it's like a thing, and then sometimes you're gifted with things that just come easily, and then many times it's not that way. You spend a lot of time, or there are famous songs that were written. The house that built me. There's that famous story of Tom Douglas. I'm trying to think who the other. They talk about how they kept revisiting the song for a decade.
Wow.
And they're probably lying, by the way, but they, because that's a great story. It's like, and they started it, and it's a great idea. You go back to that. We've all done it.
Sure.
You go back to that house, that place, right?
Yeah. So,
anyway.
Well, Mama, I love to hear for you. Like I love how he thought about anxiety, kind of, because I would definitely say that I resonate with some of that.
Yeah.
When you look at the lyrics, what memories of your children being born kind of come to mind? I know you didn't get through all the lyrics, but just
no. Well, I'll go to the second part of the first verse, which is touching, feeling, falling, reeling. Beautiful, my beautiful child. Just the touch. I remember just touching them, feeling, and just all these feelings coming to me, and then it made me, that reeling. You're so overwhelmed. Well, I was so overwhelmed with emotion. And the first time I saw my daughter Gabrielle, I was 18 when she was born, and I remember I had to have a C-section because she was breech, and they lifted her up over that curtain, and I saw her, and I'll just never forget that feeling. And that was a reeling feeling, and then child of the sunlight, child of the moon, that's all Marcus, half of my soul and also with you. If I say a prayer, what else should I do but say beautiful? Like I got chills. I got chills just saying that. But when we talked about that, you were saying, half of my soul and also with you, the mother and the father of the baby, right? But also God, Jesus, right? This Holy Spirit also with you, is also with you. And I just thought that was a beautiful way to represent a baby.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously the sacred, wherever that is, whatever that is for you, whether if you're Christian or if you're otherwise. I think that childbirth and obviously generational, the love generations, ends up being like ritual in the good sense. Sometimes we talk about ritual and it's negative, and we think of it as rigid, and but I love ritual sometimes, in that it's also about language, sacred moments. And I mean, what could be more sacred? That's why I think that we put that line in, because and also with you is something within the Christian tradition, is a phrase that we say at different times. Peace and also.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that Michelle put it really well. That it's sort of the binding of souls, and one of those is the soul, which for a lot of us is God. That you have that belief in your life.
Yeah. First of all, that's awesome. In all the ways, I am curious to hear from both of you, because this song is beautiful.
Yeah.
The song is called "Say Beautiful." Yeah. But with that being said, much of the early parts of a baby being born don't always feel as beautiful.
Nope.
And it could be from the first diaper, or to your point, just the fear and trepidation that comes with, I am responsible for a human being who cannot even hold their own head. Right. And these nuances of feeling out of control and a little bit powerless, that you cannot make certain things happen for your child the way you want. I mean, they can't even take certain over-the-counter medications until they're like 2 years old. So like they've got fever, it's like, we got to wait this thing out. And there's all these things. What have you two learned as now parents of adult children, looking back on that, on all the other complexities of it that now seem beautiful that maybe didn't always feel beautiful back then? Does anything come to mind? You're like, that didn't feel beautiful. But for those of who have young kids who are still maybe listening to this, hold on, this part gets more beautiful with time.
Do you want to jump in on
No,
that?
you got something. You go.
Well, look, I think parenting, motherhood could be understood broadly. It's such a more, for a child, when you think of a child, the word mother and the word father have different connotations. Okay. To me, the mother sounds more nurturing. It sounds more fundamental to the growth and to the nurture of a child, and that's probably should be understood as that's how it is. When I think of those times, I think of much of that was I tried to share. We did as much of like we would do bottle feeding, and when we were bottle feeding, it was like that was split. But Becca, her part in it was deeper, I think, than mine in some ways. The one thing I would say to what you're asking, BJ said, one of the things that is so distressing is that the word sleep changes forever. I think, like it. I try to remember before we had Levi, our eldest, who's now 32. Sleep was this glorious experience.
Yeah.
I was just, and it's sort of become that again.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, exactly.
Around again,
and you just go like, oh my God, I'm gonna go sleep. This is so great. And then you know what? I'm gonna get up pretty much when I want to.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna ease into the morning. I'm gonna have coffee or tea or whatever, and then when the baby comes, that's just you're looking at, and that, gosh, if you have more than one, you're looking at years where sleep has changed, and so you enjoy it in a different way. That would be the positive side to it, is that when it happens at first, it's hard. It's a hard thing to kind of get used to this new rhythm, but reality is it's just a new rhythm. And I really do think that in a pretty short period of time, you just sort of end up changing your habits and even the way that you think about sleeping. And and now looking back at it, it's doesn't seem distressing at all, because it was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know.
No. I'm probably looking forward to that time. It is a thing where you remind yourself that lack of sleep deprivation is a tactic used to break down criminals, right? And so for anyone who's judging themselves, you're like, well, you know what? This is actually used to as an interrogation tactic. Hang on. But Mama, same for you. Looking back, is there a part of the experience that seemed less beautiful at the time, but now looking
Oh,
back
for
feels more
sure.
beautiful.
I think, I say this to people all the time, and I said it to my kids because I'm a grandma. And during this whole process, I became a grandma, not expecting, I didn't know I was going to become a grandma. And when I sang that song, I was thinking about the grandchildren that were in my daughter and daughter-in-law's belly at the time. So that's the emotion behind that when I was singing it. But the thing I like to tell people is when you're in the midst of it, it feels overwhelming. It feels like, oh God, this is never going to stop. I can't do this. This is blah, blah. But what I would say when I look back now is because the moments go so fast and the children grow up, it doesn't feel fast when you're in it.
Sure.
But looking back, like I look back and go, I was so busy trying to keep my house clean and do that. I didn't sit a lot of times when I could have and just be with them. So with my grandchildren, I am with them. I'm not doing anything but being with you. You can't do that when you have children because you're working and you're trying to survive and all that. But when you have grandchildren, it's a little different. But looking back at the times I thought were difficult, like when they're driving me crazy and they're, Ma, now I'm like, oh gosh, they were so tiny and they didn't, I just missed that time and I missed out on that time with them.
Sure.
So I would say, as challenging as it is, try to stop all the things you're trying to do outside of your children at times and just literally remember this time is going to be like that and it's going to be gone.
Yeah.
So just enjoy it because they won't be 7 forever and they won't be 3 forever and they won't be 2 and 1 and 0. They won't be that forever and they'll grow up and then they won't want anything to do with you for a while and you will just long for them to want to be with you, but they won't.
Yeah.
So just enjoying those times. I look back and just go, I didn't enjoy those times like I could have. I was a young mom. I was trying to survive. I was living. Their dad had a lot of drug and alcohol issues, and so I was dealing with a lot of that as well as So everyone has their own little things they're dealing with, and just relationships in general. But I would just say, looking back, I really hope that people will enjoy the moments with the children when they can. Like, really, don't be on the phone all the time. Like, when you're with your kid, be with your kid if you can. Put your phone away for a while. They notice it.
Sure.
Like, my granddaughter will go, put your phone down. I don't really do the phone with her, but like the other day I had to do business stuff.
I get it.
And I had to. And she's like, put your phone down.
Good for her.
So,
No, that makes a ton of sense. And I can attest to that, having an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old. The speed at which she became 8 feels weird, oddly fast, even though the days were long.
Yes.
And that makes a ton of sense to me. Well,
that's interesting.
Well, to kind of bring this to a close, I mean, I would, before we talk about how to get the song and stream it, which you will be able to do, the question I'm asking for both of you, because now you both have a daughter who's a mother, so you get to hear her experience as she shares it with you. And Marcus, I don't know your children, if they have children yet.
Yeah, so they don't. So we have our 3 sons, 24, 27, and 32, and we're like, we're like Becca and I are like, we're ready, But not yet. I get to look forward to that. Yeah. But the good news is the kids, the young men, and they're soon to be one is getting married in March, and they all have great relationships, and they're all one lives just now a couple blocks away, awesome. One across town, and one with us actually.
That's great.
And working at one of our organizations, my wife's organizations, and so I get to be with my kids a lot. That's I mean, awesome. They're around all the time, really. I'll tell you, there was one thing that I wanted to mention, and so our song is very soothing. Even though, like, my first reflection, breathing, and I talk about, for me, there was a gradation, and how you think about breathing, even. But I think of that song. Maybe Michelle, maybe you're thinking more about the lullaby for the mothers.
Yeah.
For and when my thinking of lullabies is not either for mother or father, but I can't help but think of the lullaby as a song that you sing to your child, because that's sort of like my definition in a way. And it occurs to me when I think back on, I can't really remember what my mom sang for me, except that I remember so much music. My parents were very musical. They're both gone now, but they gave us so much music. And my mom, my earliest recollections were folk music, and it was Dylan, Peter, Paul, and Mary. I mean, it was like the Weavers. I mean, like they were, and then the Beatles. You know, so like, because I grew up in the '60s, so that, and I have a very, very strong memory of that. But I don't know which songs Mom would have put, because I don't think Dad would have put us. I mean, I don't know. It was, they're pretty traditional, and you know, from that era. And but I remember the one. We sang different things for the kids, but I remember singing Stew Ball. This song, Stew Ball, was a racehorse, and I wish he were mine. He never drank water; he always drank wine. So that's kind of a dark song. And that to me is an interesting thing, is that it's not uncommon for songs sometimes sung for children, or songs that we think of as children's songs, they're often kind of dark. And I'm not sure what that all means, but something about that song, you know, the chording of it, the way you play it, what's the last line he says, if I bet on Stew Ball, it's all about betting on this horse, right? And if I bet on it, I'd be a free man today. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, what exactly is free? Okay. Anyway, it's just a beautiful song. And Peter, Paul, and Mary have an amazing version of it, but I think that it could be that something in the singing of a lullaby for a child is also about you. And as we get older, our lives are filled with complicated things and hard things, and things that are light and things that are dark, and that's also part of the beauty of growing older, is that these are rich things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how do you feed that to a child? They're just there. They're like, I need to be, love me.
Yeah.
And that's what they need. They just need that. They don't need it. But I think that it's kind of a beautiful rhythm in a way, the idea of singing a song. I mean, like, do you know all the songs that you sang for the kids what did you sing to them?
I don't.
Because you're such a singer.
Yeah, I don't remember that I sang to my kids that much.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think I sang, but in thinking about why I feel like moms need lullabies more so than the children, is because the children, especially when they're newborn, they feel through us.
Yes.
They feel through our emotions.
Yeah. Okay.
So if a mother's uptight, she's frustrated, the baby feels it in the body and out of the body. And so my thought on this, and this was more centered towards looking at the baby from the mother's viewpoint and singing to the baby. But a lot of the lullabies that I've written with other co-writers too have it's more for the mother. Because if my thought is, being a mom, if the mom's calm and relaxed, the baby's calm and relaxed, more so, right? And that's about anybody in your household. I mean, if you come in and you're all jacked up,
sure,
everyone in the household feels it, right? So I really want to support the moms. And I think if we have healthy, happy moms, we have a healthy, happy society, more so. And dads there's a whole other thing about dads that are so important. But for me in this project, I really feel that moms can be forgotten. You're in the background, you're just doing your stuff, and you constantly are doing things for other people, so it's easy for you to forget yourself. Yeah. And who's there for us? Like, we are not good at taking care of ourselves. Truth be told, women are not the best at, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go take a nap here, you take the kid, you're just like, I'm gonna get the house clean, they're asleep, I'm gonna, or you need something, let me get that for you. And so I really want to foster how important for our psychological health and our physical health to do things for ourselves. And it's good for the family, it's good for the children. Happy mama, happy baby, happy family, right? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I can't speak for Marcus, but I would say, as an observer of my wife's experience as a mother, there were totally times you could, I remember jumping in, trying to help, right? And you could just see the mental and emotional burden from the responsibility for another human being's life, right? And just when my wife had a down moment when the baby was asleep, it was then entering the planning mode of how am I going to navigate preparation for the baby waking up again.
Yeah.
Right. Now's my time to get the clothes washed. Now's my time. Now's my time. Now's my time. And I, as I would say, a product of a single mother, seeing my wife, I can attest, even though I didn't experience it, to observing that reality. And also, I think another thing's a lot too. Whether it be societal, but also again, mothers themselves feeling like there are spaces for them or projects like these that invite them to what you said earlier, which I love, lullabies as a tool to bring someone back to a place of peace. I thought that was a really great way to say that. I love that phrase. Like, yeah, I've never thought about it that way, but I'm not trying to just make someone sleep.
Yeah. Correct.
And there are plenty of times where we use music to celebrate. We use music for different rituals or worship, and we can use music to build connection. We use music to bring peace. And what we're hoping through this project and we're hoping through this song is, if nothing else, whether you relate to every word that's being said or none of them, that you get to have a 4-minute time span where you get to have an invitation to find a pocket of your day to feel peace. Maybe you could also remember the beauty of your motherhood journey, maybe the beauty of someone else's. But I hope that this song's for you. So what I want you to do is, again, they're going to be able to go get this song now. So they're going to need to go to all the streaming platforms, right? So Spotify, Apple Music, and stream the song Say Beautiful.
Yeah, that's right. And they can go to mamaslullaby.com and they can download the whole first volume if they want. But that's the only place they can get them.
Very good, very good. So yes, are we intentionally trying to make you hang out with us a bit more? Yes, absolutely. So come to our digital home and hang out, and you can get the entire project now. But
there'll be some actual mothers too. We won't just be a father.
Right, exactly. So go to mamaslullaby.com and you can actually get volume 1 of the Mama's Lullaby collection of music, or you can actually go today on Apple Music or Spotify or Tidal or your favorite streaming platform, and you can actually listen to Say Beautiful, written by both Michelle and Nicolo Prentice and Marcus Hummon. And I promise you won't regret it. If you don't like it, you can text me personally, and I will totally send you back whatever you paid for it. All right? And so I'm feeling good about my odds on this. Okay? And then join us here for the next episode of the Mama's Lullaby podcast, where we are celebrating and exploring all things motherhood.
Great.
Marcus, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yes.
Mom, thanks for letting me hang out with you. I appreciate it. Love you too. All right. And we love you too. We don't even know you yet, but we love you.
Definitely.
And we look forward to you joining us next time on the podcast.
Have a great day.
Touching, feeling, falling, really beautiful, my beautiful child of the sunlight, child of the moon, half of my soul, and also with you. If I say a prayer, what else should I do?